morning, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for making the time for Spirit Scientific here to present what BMLP, what the next generation of regeneration medicine is. What we started is a biofoundry business, which is based on the BMLP technology. So when we are looking at the regeneration medicine, we're actually looking for how to step into the next region of how to heal, how to progress into the next level of health. And everybody would ask, what is BMLP? What we started with regeneration medicine method and concept. When we started with the regeneration medicine, as you can see here, is from the very, very long time ago, started from the PRP technology. This concept is based on the treatment concept, starting from the doctor's point of view, how to heal patients with the best technology and best method to treat each patient to back to the health stage. However, this concept is not wrong. It actually has many, many benefits and actually beneficial treatment and the result for the patient. However, we see many, many loopholes and the key issues that we encounter when we are treating the patients. So, in the very beginning, when we see the PRP treatment, we have this centrifuge technology where we separate everything from the biological complex into a simple plated treatment design. However, when we see this, we actually promise very, very good results. But in the actual practice of use, we did not see what we promise of what we expected to see the results. Now, what BMLP is actually using the technology and the scientific factor to solve this problem. So from the PRP, original regeneration PRP method, we come up with the concept on how to solve all these problems and the key issues. So when we look at this technology that we use PRP to treat the patients, we actually lack a lot of evidence and actually lack a lot of scientific factor inside. So in order for the regeneration medicine to move to the next stage and beyond, we need to come up with a better solution. And that is the pharmaceutical concept joined together with the regeneration medicine concept in a perfect design of the treating the patients. So it's not the concept that's wrong, it's the method that still have some pieces missing. So from this part, we actually have our BMLP technology. We have our own proprietary technology into solving this problem from PRP liquid stage into a lyophilization, stabilized, pharmaceuticalized dose-ranging technology. So from this point forward, we can actually draw the blood out into our CBC lab. Then we can actually neutralize everything that's unwanted, remove all the impurity, and then actually left pure of the PLP. That means the pure plated into a stabilized state where the doctor and the physician can use it whatever they need and whatever they can use. So from this technology, we actually see many, many results and many practical use in a clinical setting. And our BMLP technology is based on this concept to stabilize a biomaterial product into a clinical use and a clinical stage products. So what we are providing is a service for the doctors for regeneration medicine. We can only have to withdraw the biomaterial from our client, but we have a patented technology that can actually freeze dry and make all the biomaterials stabilized and then dose range it and the QA/QC into sterilization and the pharmaceutical concept into the use of the patient. So throughout this technology, we have to prove that this method actually works. So we can see from the growth factor and from all the active API that we need to have a certification and make sure that all the products and all the biomaterial is preserved and used at the right moment. Therefore, at the very first stage, when we extract from the raw material, from the biomaterial, we can actually see all the complex growth factor and all the complex active ingredients inside. Then we gradually move to the next stage where we actually freeze dry and lyophilize and then make it into a pharmaceutical grade where it's stabilized and actually can be used anytime they want. Therefore, at the very end, we actually give the doctors and the patient a final result of the growth factor or the API, whatever the indication is. Therefore, we have this report given to the patient and to the doctor doctors to design their own treatment into how they want to be the patient should be treated. So throughout this method, we actually come up with many platforms to freeze-dry different types of biomaterials, and we actually see many promising results through our clinical practice. And then this is just an example for our PLT product. From PRP into PLT, which means that when we draw the blood from the patient and into the treatment, is a stabilized, freeze-dried, plated powder that can be used for patients anytime the doctor feels the patient needed. And the reason why we can prove that this works is actually we use pharmaceutical concept and pharmaceutical grade of treatment into testing and the result of all the results. So for every single batch that we make, we actually have the sample size we retain. This is a pharmaceutical concept. When we see the result, it has to maintain a 95% activity level in order for it to call that it's still active. So our technology actually focuses on making the biomaterial into 95% purity and 95% activities throughout the 3 years of the shelf life. And in many cases, we can actually remain all these activity at the room temperature level. That means that we can actually use biomaterial from 3 years ago. When the company wants to make a large batch of biomaterial, the worst part, the most issue is that they cannot make its activity remain up to 3 years. And this is where our key point is. And our turning point is actually, once it's dropped below 95%, then we actually consider that not usable. So our technology is not just based on what we say or how the report is. We actually gone through many tasks, many actually usage, seeing that getting the biomaterial from a complex mixture is very difficult. So we have our technology, our own CPC. We have 2 in Taiwan, 1 in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan. So actually, we actually knife-wise and then freeze-dry it, even with the sterilization, making sure that everything is stabilized at the can be stored at the room temperature, and every single vial, every single batch has a sample size that we retain, and make sure that every single vial is vacuum sealed. And we actually use this method and the patented technology for many factors, from clinical to pharmaceutical and even to cosmetic materials. So in this section, we actually see the new generation of regeneration medicine is expanding, it's growing, that it's many doctors wanted to use autologous as a mean from yourself, and we of course can actually move into the segregation where our age is growing and people are getting older and then seeing much need of the higher need for slowing down the aging process. So with the regeneration medicine, we can actually freeze-dry many biomaterial and use 3 years later. And we hope this technology can expand other companies' raw material into a longer shelf life, and in order to make the API much more reality, and it can be used in different kind of field, even from cosmetic, pharmaceutical, or chemical use. And of course, in the lifestyle sector, we already established the treatment design. We actually work with many clinical cases and many doctors and medical centers in order to promote our life expectancy and our lifestyle to be improved. And of course, at the very last, is that the heal rate has to be much faster. We want to age slower, heal faster. That's our concept in the regeneration medicine. So throughout our technology, we've been going to the clinical practice. This is our first cases in the burn unit. We start our technology into treating patients that has surface burn and the surface injuries. So we actually use freeze-dry plated into treating the wound. It heals twice as faster as our placebo. That means when we, from the top point of view, we can actually spray it on, but we can actually already see promising result. It heals at twice as fast rate with a better construction of the skin. And as you can see, the skin has less scale and then it actually heals much better with all the skin originality intact with all the functions. And then this is our first project that we see for the burn unit. However, this technology we see unlimited potential. With this proprietary technology, we're actually using it to help other companies develop how to join work into the regeneration medicine market. So, BioFoundry is a business concept into we are the midstream company, not the upstream company. The upstream company is the company or the clinic or the hospital which holds the raw material, and that's when they provide the raw material in the biological activities level, we can actually lyophilize, freeze-dry it into the pharmaceutical concept, and then do the QA/QC, then give it to the patients, and then design the treatment along with the medical centers. And of course, we also work with the pharmaceutical concept into how they wanted to combine all the pharmaceutical product with the biological product. We even conduct many clinical cases with the IRB globally. This is our second concept, international paper. Once we use the topical surface of the burn to treat the results, we actually started to inject into intradermally. So we actually see how the elasticity of the skin is improved. As we can see in this area, with the fibroblasts growing at a rapid pace, it gives the skin much better texture. The glossiness actually glows, and then with the international elasticity actually bounces back. So with many cases, we actually see from the dermatology department that many doctors actually asking us to use this in their dermatology treatment, from the scar to anti-aging, into how they want to infuse into their own products. That's what we're actually designed to do. So with this tech, it's actually using our own blood, centrifuge, extract out the platelet, then it remains activity. When they wanted to use it, they can reconjugate it, and then we actually inject it back into it. We see the result within 2 treatments, within 2 months, to bounce back to the younger stage. And the aging process actually slowed down from 60% to 80%. That means the skin is aging much more slower and remain its healthy state, and see much greater result from this. The next part is about the acne scars. Our product is actually used for many cases. On the first couple of cases, we can see from the burn unit, from the injury unit, when we actually use from the accident or from human-made scars, we can actually see promising result and see the result that's promoted by injuring the skin site. However, from this part, this is from the reverse point of view. We actually see it from scarring tissue, active scarring tissues, to promote how the skin is healing. So with the older scar, it's not a fresh scar, it's not a fresh injuries. We wanted to see if that actually creates a better result and making the scar less visible, or to make it more less appealing, more appealing and less seen of the scars. So this is actually conducted with our lyophilized treatment, and then into the platelet treatment, into the result. We're seeing much greater result within the 4 treatment period, and then all these scholar paper will be found internationally and globally. And from this point, we actually achieve our goal. We actually see the result that we actually set out to see. The BioFoundry business actually becomes a reality, where we actually can make biomaterial into how the doctor and the treatment into the design altogether. And with what we said about 95% of the activities, we see many patients actually eager to storage their biomaterial and active biomaterial in whatever they want to use. So it opens many doors with other clinic and other doctors. So it actually unlocked thousands, even tens of thousands of treatment globally. And what we do here is a CDMO factor. We're doing here in Japan is looking for partners that actually can pieces all these together. We're looking for joint partnership into if we have making biomaterials, we can actually help making it into a stabilized and lyophilization state. We can actually dose range it for all the biomaterial companies that actually have secretome from exosome, from all the top whatever protein or whatever growth factor that they actually wanted to make, that we can actually join forces together and then actually come up with a much better way to store all these biomaterials, and then to do the treatment design cooperate with the medical center and then to other companies. So we actually looking for partners in Japan area and in Taiwan area as well. So we started from Taiwan. This technology is called, it's started from the Taiwan business. So why we call it the biofoundry is it's the same as a foundry business. It's a TSMC concept. In 2019 to 2022, we actually have a POC lab that actually proven all this concept if it actually works, or we can actually make it into a clinical setting to make sure that every single doctor can experience the biomaterial and the regenerative medicine boom. So we can, from 2023 to 2024, we actually already accumulate thousands and even into a PMDA certification to start a global business. So in Taiwan is already an emerging stock market. We have the company is well established in Taiwan and trusted by thousands of doctors and thousands of medical clinics. And in 2025 and beyond, we're actually open globally. So we're just starting out in Japan. So everybody in the seats or anybody you have known definitely needs biomaterial to be stabilized and pharmaceutical grade can help to do that. So I'm the founder of the company. Right now the company capital is at 800 million Japanese yen. And right now we have over 110 employees already. So for the past 5 years, we actually grown really fast from a clinical point of setting and all the way until we actually use it onto the market and then prove it to the market and the government that we actually can do this. And with me as the lead, as the founder of the company, we have many supporting cast. These are the few key persons in our company. In Japan, we wanted to introduce you our Kurt Hirota-san. He's here and our president, so we can actually meet him. He speaks fluent Japanese, even though I'm sorry I couldn't speak fluent Japanese, but our company has a Japanese contact office headquarters located in Ariake, Tokyo. So we invite everybody here to come to our site to see. And of course, we're open to other technology to join forces with us to open market into whatever the company feels like is actually good for the company. And we have a CTO, Alex. He's also here at our booth. So if you get a chance, please stop by our booth and then talk to us. And our concept here is actually really simple. It's using the philosophy of science to prove that regeneration actually can work and it actually is sustainable. And so we combine the three parts, the most important part together, which is science, clinic, and the biological product. These three concepts needs to join together to force the regeneration medicine into actually useful clinical practice setting. And what we're actually doing here is translating the science into a clinical setting. Then we actually have the natural regeneration, which biological product is a biological effect, not really a chemical effect, but it can introduce many of the side effects. And we wanted to try to eliminate that as much as possible. And then, of course, we have the treatment design. In Taiwan and Japan, we're currently holding over hundreds of clinical practice and the workshops to teach actually doctors to do these treatments. So our transparency is the most important part for us. When we actually receive biological products, we actually do two-steps, almost a three-step proven factor to make sure that all the growth factor is tested from the COA all the way to the final product. So we actually have introduced all the pharmaceutical concept into the regeneration medicine. We want to be as transparent as possible to all our clients and all our users. And of course, at the very last part, it's our patent technology. Right now, we already have 17 patents globally into the biological freeze-dried technology. So we're actually expanding even more. So hopefully, this method and this concept can be introduced into the Japanese market. And it's our focus to make science with a purpose and regeneration with integrity. And then I wanted to take this last 10 minutes to show you actually what we have done so far. the 17 patents we actually talk about is also displayed in our booth at 1234. If you get a chance to stop by and talk to us, we can show you exactly what each patent does. And of course, in the region that we set it in Japan, we're actually expanding more and more patents in order for us to expand the business and then find the right partners to co-work with us. So this is our first product. It's called the PLT. We're actually helping to introduce this product into Japan, and with all the patent already, that we can actually set into the market immediately. If the companies that we have in contact with have any clinical setting, we can also do the clinical report and the clinical studies with everybody. And these are some of the reward which we already established our business. So you can see us in Japan's business magazines, and of course we've been introduced to the government of the Vice President of Taiwan to prove that our method actually works and it's already beneficial to the whole health community and all the medical industries. So in Taiwan, we already have over 1,700 clinic and medical center and hospital using our products already and using our service. So it's from 2020, it's actually growing rapidly. Even though the COVID area hit, we still have non-stop clinic because in Taiwan's setting, it wasn't affected that much by the COVID factor. However, this technology is actually really, really useful because the general public is actually depending more on regeneration medicine than chemical pharmaceutical concept to dial down the actual side effects. And then our clinical case has over 40,000 users already. So we're collecting all these data. We have over 40,000 data of the patient's data. We have all their blood work and all their results as well. So we can actually see many, many cases. We hope in a country which is 23 million people of population in Taiwan, it's only the same size of Tokyo. We're hoping to open a bigger market in Japan and hoping to find the right partner to work with us in Japan. So Spirit Scientific Japan is it's just established. This is our CPC lab in Ariake, Tokyo. Everything, just like I said, is as transparent as possible. So we invite everybody in the seats or everybody who heard the seminar to tell their friends or to tell their colleagues. If they get a chance, please come to us and then see our lab. We're more than happy to show you our CPC lab and our concept design for the BMLT and the biofoundry business. So right now, this is our QR code. We're actually looking for business partner and scholar partner and research partner as well. So right now, I think Japan has a really well-established regeneration legal system, and of course, is pushing towards a better future for the regeneration medicine. I believe globally, everybody's looking at Japan to be the next regeneration leader for the next 10 years or so. So I think this is actually moving us in the right direction. I'm hoping to find the right partner to join force to enter this market in Japan. We select Japan to be the first one is because it's the interrogating in Japan and the regeneration medicine in Japan is very well established. So as you can see that the market is expanding already, and we're hoping linking to Japan and Taiwan's market together will create a better clinical result and a better business concept. And thank you very much. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 皆さんご清聴ありがとうございました。まだ残り5分ほどございますので、もし何かご質問等ございましたら、機会にお返すこともできますし、またこの場ではなかなかということでありましたら、当社のブースがですね、1234、とても覚えやすいです。1234、ここちょっといったところにございますので、先ほどからスティーブからご紹介差し上げているいろんな症例、こちらの詳しいご紹介ですとか、実際にこのところとしてどういう治療法で活用されるとこういう成果が出せるかですとか、そういった再生医療ではなかなか数値化できなかったことを数字をお見せしながら これだけ使うとこういう効果が出ます。そういうご説明ができる資料を揃えてお待ちしております。ですので、そういう治療だけにかかわらず、製薬、それから、研究用途、その中で、しっかりとデータをしながら、ビジネスを進めていくというような、環境づくりに、貢献していきたいなと思っております。ぜひよろしくお願いいたします。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.